Way up north, just shy of the Arctic Circle, lies on the Seward Peninsula a gold mining camp called Cripple River. About 13 miles outside of the town of Nome. It's a paradise for prospectors. The mining season is short up there. The winter comes in and locks the place up 9 months out of the year. So I feel pretty fortunate to be able to spend my summer up there looking for gold.
Ooh, look at that.
Come along with us as me and Cindy and Kael spend our summer dredging for gold on Arctic Creek. Let's get to digging for gold.
Welcome to Gold Fever. We climbed up here to give you a bird's eye view. Woo! Woo! Me and Kael, we're out here dredging. We've been doing pretty good in this spot, and I wanted to get up here and take a high vantage point and kind of read the river for you on today's show. But a lot of people ask me, they say, Tom, how much gold you got? And I tell them, I got millions and millions of dollars in gold. They say, man, you got all that gold. Where do you hide it? Where do you put it? And I tell them, I'm no dummy. I put it in the bank. I got it all in the bank. But it's a gravel bank, and you need a number 2 shovel to make an extraction. I got places all over the planet where I know there's really good gold. There's millions and millions of dollars of gold in those gravel banks, and this is just one of those places. When I was your age, I was out here dredging. When I was dredging, I got down into a hole and I got a lot of gold. And I figured this is going to be a really good spot. But I moved on different places, but I've always remembered this spot. Now, I'll give you a little bit of idea why this spot has got so much gold. There's been gold found upstream from this location and downstream from this location. I picked this spot because it has some of the basic characteristics of a good gold area. Fast water has enough force to push heavy objects, and gold being heavy generally pushes through areas where there's fast running water. Slow running water, gold tends to drop out and collect up in slow water areas. A pinch point is where the 2 hillsides come together on the creek, not giving the creek anywhere to move left or right. During big floods, when gold is traveling down the river, the high water's pushing the gold on through. Where you have gravel bars, an open area in the creek, where the water slows down, these spots the gold can drop out and be trapped in there. A rich pay streak. We're not going to get it all. The old timers didn't get it all. We're not going to get it all, and the next generation's not going to get it all either. You're not going to get it all, Kael, but maybe you'll get enough for something.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to go get some more.
All right, well, we're going to head on down there and get to dredging and see if we can get some of that, more of that yellow stuff.
My father's nickname was the Buzzard. He passed away in 1993 at the age of 54. My mother passed away almost 10 years later in 2003. They say behind every good man is a good woman. The Buzzard was the founder of the Gold Prospectors Association. He also founded the Outdoor Channel and the Cripple River Mining Camp. He infected a lot of people with gold fever. He's buried with his wife, Tom Massie, just outside the Cripple River Mining Camp. I like to stop by every now and then and pay my respects.
Miss you guys. Had Father's Day not too long ago. I always think about him. Used to always be up here mining with him on Father's Day. But it's just nice to stop by here on the way out to the diggings and say hello. You know, as my mom wanted to change my diapers and kept me alive when I was sick. And then my dad teach me to shoot and find gold. Oh, my debt of gratitude. I guess you can't be so mournful for them that they're gone, because it's kind of selfish that you want them there for you. But just take their life lessons and teach them, move on.
Pass the baton on.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think he'd want you to stand here. I think he'd want you to go out and go mining.
Yeah, well,
Go dig
it's
for some
good.
gold.
It's good for my soul. It's good for me
Yeah,
to just kind of reminisce and remember.
Yeah.
Nice place to stop. Doing what I can to spread the fever, Dad. Heading up the river to get you some gold. Get some gold. Well, that gold's not going to jump out of the river onto your pocket. You got to go dig for it.
Just about any work that you do in life is made easier with tools. And the tool that we decided on this trip to get our gold was a 5-inch suction dredge. It's called a 5-inch dredge because of the opening of the nozzle. The nozzle is 5 inches across. Dredges range in size from 1 inch all the way up to 12 inch. From the nozzle, the material is sucked into a hose. There's 2 motors that spin an impeller. The impeller sucks up water, which pushes high-pressured water out. That goes into a venturi, which creates a suction out on the end of the hose. Material is sucked through the hose and deposited in the sluice box. The sluice box has a series of riffles, which trap the heavy material. The lighter material exit out the end of the sluice box. The dredge is concentrating the material down to heavies. Your garnet sand, your black sand, your irons, your hematites, your magnetites. Gold has a specific gravity of 19.5, and those irons have a specific gravity of around 10. And your flow sand, your lighter material, has a specific gravity between 4 and 6. So it's easier to separate off the lighter stuff, and those heaviers make it more difficult to separate the gold out. Another day, another ounce of gold, hopefully. I haven't quite got there yet, but that's kind of a measuring stone for me if I can get an ounce a day if I'm doing over that or under that. And it's not too difficult out here. You get down into the right spot, but I won't kid you, it's not easy. You got to toss a lot of rocks. There's a lot of physical labor. And the gold just doesn't jump up in your pocket. But let me tell you some about my dredge here before I get started. I like this particular dredge because it's got a low sluice box, and that's what you want, so you don't have to push this water up through this flare very far at all before it hits into your sluice box, because that decreases your suction. I'm not cleaning up right now because I'm looking for some gold. I see a little bit in there, but not enough to do a cleanup. That's a mistake a lot of people make when they first start out, is they clean up too often. And any gold that's in there, it's going to stay in there, but I'm hoping to load up a whole lot more gold in there. I got a couple of different motors here. I got some baling wire over here. I'm kind of trying to tie it together. It's a little bit older dredge, but it's lucky for me. I found a lot of gold. I paid for this dredge 4, 5, 10 times over with the gold that I've gotten out of it. But the old timers, they didn't have these types of motors, and they didn't have the ability to go down underneath the water and get this type of gold. So they had to divert the river where they could, and there's a lot of gold left out there using this type of method still to be had. I'm going to get fired up here and see if I can get that ounce of gold inside my box or better. It's a lot of fun, a lot of work, so I'm going to get in the water and get to throwing some rocks. Gold's twice as heavy as most anything else in the stream, so it's going to want to go to the bottom. On top of your bedrock is a good place to start. Usually you don't find much gold in your loose packed material. Material that's hard packed is where your gold's going to be at. Also look for signs of hematite or other heavier material in the different layers as you're dredging down. An important thing is to organize your hole. Make sure you're tossing your rocks where you're not going to be dredging again later on. If the bedrock slopes a certain direction, that's the direction you most likely want to go, because gold travels down to the lowest spot. In the Arctic, the bedrock is flaky because of the freezing and thawing that fractures it apart. Most places, your bedrock is hard and solid. Most of the time, you'll find your good gold on bedrock, but you don't want to dilly-dally along and look for the gold while you're under there. Sure, if you definitely see a nugget or a piece of good gold, pick it up, but you don't want to spend a lot of time looking for gold. The important part is do your business on the end of the nozzle and move the material through there. At the end of the day, there'll be more gold in the sluice box. And that's what the sluice box is for, trapping the gold, not up front looking around for it. So move the material through your hose.
I thought I saw a big piece, but sometimes your eyes can deceive you down there when you're just working. And the thing is not to look around for gold. You just got to suck it up and keep working. If there's like big nuggets and you see them, by all means pick them out. But it's not a good idea to go in there and dig around every time. Because if you got a piece of gold, your little pieces of gold, they're stuck in there. But every time you go in there and dig around, you can dislodge them and move them down the box a little ways. So I'm just gonna tank up again and keep moving material.
Managing your tailings is important. Material is sucked up through the hose, the heavies are trapped inside the sluice box, and the lighter material exit out into your tailing pile. Shoveling and spreading your tailings out is important, not to let them build up on you. If you let them build up too much, they can back up into your sluice box. So it's important to keep your tailings out of the way so they don't clog things up. And when you're working the back side of my dredge, I have a tendency to hog the material through there, and shoveling tailings can be a exhausting job.
Woo! We're in the gold now! We're in the gold now! And I know there's got to be more gold here in the sluice box because I seen it go up. Woo! Yeah! I knew this spot had gold. Oh man, I started seeing gold all over the place. Right there's a piece. Right there's, this is all gold laden. You see that nugget right back up underneath there? I should probably figure out a way to pick that out. Well, I'm not gonna do a cleanup. I'm gonna probably tweezer that piece out of there because it's a pretty good sized piece. It's underneath my matting. It's doing its job. And, 2 tanks of gas, that'll wear you out. I gotta go get some snoozing and come back and hit it again tomorrow. Getting my hole bigger and bigger. I'm gonna load this up full of 50 ounces of gold. 50 ounces. I found a nugget! It's a moose nugget! Moose nugget floated in my hole! Kind of nutty flavor. Well, there's probably more in there. Looks like it's got a face on it, huh? Jimmy Durante with zits. go put that one with my other one. The other one's even bigger.
Not very comfortable.
No sleeping out here. No sleeping on the job. We stopped by this place up here on the top of the hill. I've known about it for a few years, but it's real interesting in that it seems like you got these valleys out here unpeopled and still, and land and land and land. And then out here, beyond the beyond and beyond, is the prospector's cabin. This is an old cabin a guy had out here, probably a tent camp. Well, they came out here and found this prospect, and they did a little bit of digging around. Doesn't look like they found much, but out here prospecting. I tell you what, though, the view is beautiful. When I was a kid in school, we had to tear a motor down, metal shop. And the grade is if you pulled the starter after you did your overhaul and it started on the first pull, you got an A. If it started on the second pull, you got a B. If it started on the third pull, you got a C. And if you could get it started, you'd get a D. But if you couldn't get it started, you failed. I'm looking at a D right now. Hope I don't get an F. About 3 days since I've been in the hole, and I had this hole opened up here about 6 feet, about 3 feet deep, and a storm came through, so we kind of hunkered down during the storm. Haven't really been up, and it's amazing because it's all flow sand that's flowed in here inside my hole. I got to suck all this flow sand out, get back down to the bedrock. Amazing.
Nothing? Come on, tell me you found that 42 ouncer.
Hey man, I'm just getting started. I'm going through overburden.
Big chunks, huh?
See that hematite right there?
This one?
No, that shiny one.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you get into a lot of that stuff, that's the heavier material, and that's where you get gold. Not too pretty good. Now we're just getting started. There's probably a little bit of flake in there.
Working together with a good tender, you can get more gold at the end of the day. A tender's job is first and foremost safety, keeping an eye on the guy at the business end of the dredge, making sure that his air's fine and everything's operating okay. Then the tender has to keep an eye out on the sluice box to make sure that it doesn't overload with material, keeping the riffles clean, looking inside there for any larger size rocks and plucking them out of the way. Also helping out the diver with plug-ups. A tender can clear out the hose much easier than the diver can with the weight belt on. By clearing out the plug-ups quicker, you get more material through your sluice box and more gold by the end of the day.
Well, one of the problems that you got when you're doing this type of mining is you get plug-ups inside the hose, and sometimes they can be dastardly. Up. Now, if you're dredging by yourself, there's a few techniques that you can use to get unplugged. One is to always know what your hose feels like and how much suction's out here on the end of the nozzle when it's not sucking anything at all. So you know what your suction is. And if you feel anything less than that, you've got to plug in the line and you need to get it unplugged. And then two is watch out for the big rocks when you're down there and get those out of the way and be careful. And when you do suck up a big rock, let it have some time to suck through the hose before you start sucking up more material. It's a lot better to suck less material and spend your time going through it than trying to get unplugged, because you can sit there and spend your time getting unplugged and you're just spinning your wheels, you're not getting any gold. So I'm gonna quit job boating and get down there and get me some more of that gold. I'm down on bedrock, it's looking real good.
What do you say we have some tuna fish sandwiches and tank up again and go back down?
All right, I could have a halftime.
Okay. There's an old bucket line dredge. Go take a look at it. Yeah, they got the pond going. They got the engine out here. Wow. See, that's where the bucket chain would have been. And then the sluice would have been out here. Looks like part of the busted up sluice over there. We ain't the only ones that knew there was gold out here. Old timers were here a long time ago. I reckon that's probably turn of the century. 100 years old right there. Well, somebody found a bunch of gold, and then they thought we're gonna make it rich by building this dredge out here and getting it all. And some tragedy befell them, and there it sits.
Wood's still standing.
Yeah, but man, that looks like some hard ships that nobody reckons. Man, look at the size of that engine, man. They drug that thing out here probably over the ice in the wintertime. And they didn't have four-wheelers or tractors or dozers. They did that with horses, skidding it. And you know what? They didn't turn any dirt. You know how I know that?
No tailing piles?
No tailing piles. You know, the bucket line dredges run and they fan out those tailing piles. Looks like they might have run a little bit, but I don't see any tailing piles around here. So they didn't get any gold. They didn't turn dirt, you know?
Yeah, it didn't really work it.
Yeah. Well, let's get to our concentrates, huh?
Yeah, go focus on our own gold.
Yep. Well, let's get to cleaning up. Ooh, almost went down in there, huh?
Every now and then when you peel back that big slab of bedrock off the bottom, you can see the yellow pieces of gold just laying there. Just like picking up Easter eggs, easy ones too. Yee-haw!
Well, let's dump this out, clean up. Yeah, in a good spot, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, hands get a little numb, but once I felt that gold hit my hand, got all the feeling back.
Usually you clean up once or twice a week, but if you're into really good gold, sometimes more than that. First thing you have to do is make sure you catch all the material that's in your sluice box with a tub or a bucket. You lift up the riffle tray, which is hinged, and then you get to the carpets. Usually it's an indoor-outdoor type of carpet. The carpet helps trap the fine particles of gold inside the box. The riffles create an eddy system, and the gold, which is heavy, gets stuck in behind the eddy, and the lighter stuff is washed on out of the box. Once you lift the carpets out, you gotta make sure and wash them real good, because the gold likes to stick in the fine grains of the carpet.
Mosquitoes getting you?
Yeah.
They only take a little bit. I get hungry, I eat them. I suck them in.
And they're probably getting his blood back.
Good protein there.
Once you've washed all the carpets, there's a little bit of material left that you need to bucket up and clean out of it.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna take this, put it in a 5-gallon bucket, and then we're gonna take it back down, and we got a big shaker table. It makes it easy for cleanup. We'll just run this stuff through there later on tonight and clean it up. And then we'll take this gold, we'll add it to the gold we already got, and then we'll come back up here, get some more gold, and we'll get a pile of gold.
Once you get all your material cleaned out, then you've got it condensed down into a 5-gallon bucket. Then you take that back and have another process of cleaning it out.
All this material, all that hole, everything condensed down to this heavy stuff, and then we're going to condense it down even farther just to the yellow stuff, the yellow dirt. That's all it is dirt. That's a beautiful piece, but I think just about 10 feet up here in front of my hole, because the bedrock's sloping that way, there's a chunk in there. It's about the size of my hand. It's about 120-ounce nugget that's laying up there in the bedrock, wedged down there in a crack. It's just waiting for me right up there. But I'll take this one. Huh?
we got our bucket of cons that we brought up from our dredging operation, and we're gonna run them through here in the gold room. This is kind of cheating because this is more of a commercial cleanup area, but works fine for us. You got this shaker table here that's working the light stuff off, and the heavies go down there in the cups, and then this screen up here classify it. That's what you always want to do with your material, classify it, especially with your concentrates, and that way you make it easier for whatever type of equipment that you're using to clean up to save your concentrates. So we know there's a lot of gold in here because we've seen it going in, and we're going to run it across the table here and clean it up. It's kind of a slow process, but it's a lot easier than panning it.
The first process is to run the material through window screen inside of a trommel. This classifies the material going over the top of the shaker table. By classifying off the material, it makes it easier for the smaller, fine pieces of gold to get trapped on the table, and the lighter stuff to get washed off. The bigger rocks that won't go through the window screen, we'll have to pan those. But those would contain larger nuggets, which are easier to extract by panning. By screening off all the big rocks, makes it easier for those small pieces of gold to get trapped inside your shaker table. Those big rocks can knock a small piece of gold off your table, so you don't want the big rocks around, unless they're solid yellow gold rocks.
Go to your home, gold. Go to your home. We'll leave some for the next guy. So that's it for the shaker. Now we screen and pan.
That's good, that's good.
Okay, Kael. Pan that, sort through it, make sure there's no big stuff in there. Ooh, look at that. That's just our first pan.
Oh, dang.
We might have a couple ounces of gold in this cleanup. Each one of those little flakes you can see is $1, $2. Price of gold keeps going up, and more and more. That's good. I like these classifiers. They fit right inside of a pan. All right, look for the big one.
Oh, big pieces in this one.
No big?
Couple flakes though.
Found a flake? No big
Yeah.
pieces. Nice, huh? Every pan. Some people look at that and they go, oh, no, I just want the big gold. But you gotta always clean up the little stuff. Even those little pieces like that one right there. See that little guy? He's not gonna get away. He's not gonna get away. We still got all the small stuff over there too. See this, my friend? Pretty much just yellow gold. This, my friend, this is a tough pan. This is just yellow gold in here. Didn't have to pan that or nothing. Squeeze on the snuffer bottle. Just go in and suck that stuff right out. This I'm gonna pan. This should be a bunch of fine flour gold in heavy black sand. I'm gonna take off the light stuff here first. All those little light pieces. Now I'm just stuck. You see, this is just solid black sand. Now I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna take out the magnetite. Spread it all out there in the pan. You don't want it all clumped up because the gold can pick up with the magnet. Now there's magnetite and hematite in here. See that? None of that's gold. But you gotta be careful because sometimes you can pick up gold with it.
But I can get this all out of my pan and I don't have to pan it. See, this got a little plunger on it. The magnet goes down, magnet's picking it up. I release the plunger, all the magnetite goes in my pan. Now there's probably gonna be some gold in there, but not a whole lot. And the gold don't pick up because the gold's not magnetic. This is the last of our gold. Pan this one down very carefully. And here is your flour gold. Look at that, Kael. And we'll snuffer that stuff up like a little vacuum cleaner, sucking up the yellow dirt. These snuffer bottles, my dad invented these. I don't know where he figured it out, but he invented these, and it makes sucking up this fine flour gold real easy. The old days, I used to pick with a match head and sit there and pick at it. Sometimes you get that gold like that, and then you can use it kind of as a blower and blow it over into the corner. You blow that gold over there, and then you got the end of your squeeze, and then you come back in and suck it all up.
Did a 7th grade science project. Everyone was trying to pick something exciting, explosions and stuff, but picked what I really wanted to know was how much gold floats in the surface tension.
You screened it down?
Yep, using different meshes.
In different meshes, and then what size mesh did it start to really float?
It got up to a pretty high mesh.
I think at 50 mesh it started floating, and then above that it definitely floated. But 40 mesh was kind of sketchy. I think it depended on the size or on the shape of the gold. If it was a 40 mesh and it was flat, it could float. If it was a 50 mesh, it pretty much flowed all the time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take this and add it to the rest of the stuff we've been getting up there. That's one of our cleanups. That's a nice one. We're going to take this down to the hooch and add it with the other stuff down there, and we'll see what your cut is. We got to get Mom a cut too.
All right.
Because she's been up there working too.
Well, all good things must come to an end. And when you can't get water to flow through your sluice box because it's frozen, you gotta give up the ghost. And the season's short up here in Alaska, and Kael's gotta get back to schooling. I'm looking forward to doing that. Yeah, well, I really appreciate you throwing all those rocks and all that hard work. That built up those muscles, huh? Better than you going to the gym, huh? Well, we've taken all our gold and we kind of totaled it up here, and we weighed out all our fine stuff. We classified it down, and there are 21 ounces, 2 pennyweights, 8 grains. Now, gold has its own weight. It's got its troy ounces. When you see gold prices at $1,600 and 1609. Woo, that's getting up there. 1609, that's troy ounces, and that's 999 fine pure gold is the bullion price. And this gold right here, it isn't pure when it comes up out of the ground. It's got some impurities in it, and when you send it off to a smelter and you melt it down, they take the impurities out of it. So you got to discount this type of gold right here about 15, 10, 20% depending on the impurity. So we're going to discount this 15% off of the bullion price on this gold right here. So how much does that come up to?
Comes out to be $28,879.
Yeah, that's just in the fines. And the fine gold is where it's at. This is the majority of gold that you're going to get out there. Now, we got some nuggets, and these are glamorous, but they're nowhere near the weight and the value of the fine gold. So when you're out there, go after the fine stuff. This other stuff will come along easy. This is the pickers. These right here, this is, you can inlay these in watches. They're bigger size gold. You can do stuff. You can make some jewelry out of this. So it's still got the impurities in it, but we're going to go at spot price for this stuff. Now, how much is here? Let's weigh this stuff out. So I'm going to go in grains. 1,470 grains right there. So that's what 1,470 grains looks like. And then I'm gonna weigh the nuggets. Now nuggets are different. This is jewelry quality stuff. This is the big pickers that we got out there. And the biggest piece, we picked that right up off the bedrock, wound up being this big nugget right here. And it's just shy of a ½ an ounce. And sometimes these can be 200% over spot, 50% over spot. I'm gonna go at 20% over spot for our nuggets right here. And we got 653 grains and nuggets. And that comes out to, I don't know how many few ounces, huh?
Comes out to be 1.3 ounces.
1.3 ounces. So you notice we got a whole lot more fines than we do in the nuggets. And we'll total all this stuff up. What's it all total up to?
Comes out to $36,350.
$36,350. Divide that by 3, because Mom gets a share, because she did all the cooking and working up there. You'll get a share, and I get a share. And what's that total out to?
3 shares comes out to be $12,116 a share.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like it. But I'm not going to give you your whole share. I'll give you enough for a down payment on a car. But you got college tuition coming up and other things, and that's what Grandpa did for me, is he held on to a lot of gold that we got together and gave it to me when I really needed it, so I didn't blow it on computer games and that sort of stuff.
Sounds fun.
But a car, you got a down payment on a car. That's some good work up there. I really appreciate your work, Kael. And well, we appreciate you tuning in here, folks, and we'll see you again on another Gold Fever adventure.